Why Scorpio never forgets betrayal. Scorpio. Have you ever wondered why Scorpio can forgive, but never truly forget? People often say Scorpios hold grudges, that they're too intense, too sensitive, too dramatic when it comes to betrayal. But what if they're completely wrong? What if Scorpio doesn't remember betrayal because they're bitter? What if they remember it because it changed them? Because here's the truth most people never understand about Scorpio. Scorpio doesn't fear being hurt. Scorpio fears being deceived. There's a huge difference. Pain is part of life. Every Scorpio knows that. Heartbreak happens. Disappointment happens. Loss happens. Failure happens. Scorpio can handle pain. In fact, many Scorpios become stronger because of it. But betrayal? Betrayal is different. Because betrayal doesn't just hurt your heart, it attacks your trust. And trust means everything to Scorpio. Think about it. Scorpio doesn't open up easily. They don't tell everyone their secrets. They don't let everyone see their vulnerabilities. Most Scorpios spend months, sometimes years, deciding whether someone deserves access to the real version of them. The world usually sees the surface, the controlled version, the composed version, the strong version. But underneath that armor is someone incredibly loyal, someone who feels deeply, someone who loves deeply, someone who protects the people they care about with extraordinary intensity. That's why betrayal hits Scorpio differently. Because by the time someone betrays a Scorpio, they've already been trusted. And trust was never given lightly. Imagine spending years building a house. Brick by brick, wall by wall, room by room. Then one day, someone you trusted burns it down. The fire hurts. But what hurts even more is realizing who started it. That's what betrayal feels like to Scorpio. The damage matters, but the source matters more. Because Scorpio always asks the same question. How could someone I trusted do this? That question can stay with them for years. Not because Scorpio is obsessed with revenge. Not because Scorpio wants to suffer. Because Scorpio wants to understand. Understanding is how Scorpio heals. When something painful happens, most people want to move on. Scorpio wants answers. They replay conversations, examine details, study patterns, search for clues they missed. Not because they're trapped in the past, because they're trying to learn. Scorpio wants to make sure the lesson is never wasted. And that's where people misunderstand them. They think Scorpio is holding on, when often Scorpio is studying. There's a difference. You see, Scorpio views betrayal as information. Painful information, but information nonetheless. Every betrayal reveals something. Sometimes it reveals another person's character. Sometimes it reveals your own blind spots. Sometimes it reveals what you ignored because you wanted to believe the best in someone. Scorpio pays attention to those lessons. And once a lesson becomes part of Scorpio's experience, it rarely disappears. That's why Scorpios have such powerful memories when it comes to emotional events. They're not remembering the event. They're remembering the meaning. They're remembering the lesson. They're remembering the transformation. Think about the people who changed your life. You probably remember them clearly, not because of what happened, because of what they taught you. Scorpio works the same way. Every betrayal becomes part of their emotional education, and over time, that education becomes wisdom. The older Scorpio gets, the harder they become to deceive. Not because they become cynical, because they become aware. They recognize patterns faster. They notice inconsistencies sooner. They trust actions more than words. They stop ignoring red flags. And this creates an interesting paradox. Many people think Scorpio becomes colder with age. In reality, Scorpio becomes more selective. The love is still there. The loyalty is still there. The depth is still there. Access becomes harder, that's all. Because Scorpio has learned that not everyone deserves unlimited trust. Not everyone deserves unlimited access. Not everyone deserves unlimited chances. And honestly, that's not bitterness. That's wisdom. One of the most dangerous beliefs in modern culture is the idea that forgiving someone means pretending nothing happened. Scorpio doesn't see it that way. Scorpio understands that forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. You can forgive someone and still remember what they showed you. You can wish them well and still keep your distance. You can let go of anger without reopening the door. That distinction changes everything, because Scorpio eventually realizes something powerful. The purpose of remembering betrayal isn't punishment. It's protection. Your scars exist for a reason. They remind you where the danger was. And emotional scars work the same way. They're not there to make you afraid. They're there to make you aware. That's why many Scorpios become incredibly strong after betrayal. The experience forces growth, forces reflection, forces transformation. And transformation is Scorpio's greatest gift. Every sign experiences pain, but Scorpio has a unique ability to turn pain into power, to turn loss into wisdom, to turn heartbreak into clarity, to turn betrayal into strength. That's why people are often surprised when they see Scorpio years after a major betrayal. They expect someone broken. Instead, they find someone stronger, wiser, more confident, more self-aware. Because Scorpio rarely stays down for long. They rebuild, they reinvent, they rise. And that's the part nobody talks about. Betrayal may leave a scar, but it also leaves knowledge, and knowledge becomes power. Not power over other people, power over yourself, power over your decisions, power over your future. So if you're a Scorpio who still remembers a betrayal from years ago, maybe there's a reason. Maybe your mind isn't holding on to the pain. Maybe it's holding on to the lesson. Because lessons protect us. Lessons guide us. Lessons help us avoid repeating the same mistakes. And Scorpio values lessons more than almost anyone. That's why Scorpio never truly forgets betrayal. Not because they're trapped in the past, because the past taught them something worth remembering. And once Scorpio learns a lesson, it becomes part of who they are forever. If this resonated with you, comment, "I remember the lesson." And if you're part of the Scorpio Secrets family, subscribe now. Because in our next video, we're exploring another mystery that confuses people around the world. Why Scorpio walks away without warning Scorpio. And once you understand the reason, you'll never see Scorpio's silence the same way again.